Welcome to the Conquer Duality podcast with Alexia Anahita. In this episode, I explore the daunting topic of infidelity and betrayal, as well as the spiritual aspects of sacred sex. As mentioned before, this is a pre-recorded podcast I made on August 22nd, 2022. I'm uploading it today to share my knowledge and wisdom with my audience. If you're interested in self-help topics, spirituality, esotericism, and occult sciences, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter at AlexiAction-Passion for future posts and updates. Enjoy this episode, fam. Much love, Lexi. On the topic of infidelity, cheating, and betrayal, I think this is a fear that we all have when it comes to partnership. I think there's a level of risk when it comes to giving your heart and your body to someone else. At least there's a hope that they will remain true to you. I think one of the reasons why I've been so reluctant to enter any sort of commitment is because of this fear. What's interesting to note is that how do these fears manifest in your reality? Is it because at some point in your journey you stepped out of your character and integrity, did something that you weren't so proud of? And although you may repent and say, well, never again, there's a fear that begins to vibrate beneath the surface. And is that because you haven't really forgiven yourself for said transgression? Is that how the fear begins? Is that the price you pay when you, quote unquote, sin? And your life begins to be ruled by fear? Or is it because you just happen to attract a soul that hasn't done their healing, and so they step out of their character and integrity and do shady shit that ultimately ends up hurting them in the long run, the grand scheme of things, right? I often use the saying that the world is your mirror. So if you're a type of individual who doesn't lack integrity and truth, and honor, and you are placed in a situation where you're in a partnership with a soul who does lack these qualities and lives a double life, well then who's to blame in this situation? It's like, if you know that you've remained loyal and true and honest, but your partner has been sleeping around, I know if it was the unhealed version of me, I'd internalize all of that and put myself under the microscope and be like, well, what's wrong with me? What do I lack? Why did my partner do this? Why would they hurt me this way? Why would they go to somebody else for sexual gratification, intimacy, and connection? Why wouldn't they just talk to me? It must be a me problem, not a them problem. But I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like I've done enough work on myself to really recognize what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, work on my weaknesses, and just be the best version of myself that I can be. So I wouldn't blame myself in a situation like this. The shadow is so fucking tricky, you know? So fucking tricky. Your dark side will convince you of things that are not true, but if you keep feeding the fear, it's like it becomes a reality in your mind. You start to live it. It's so ridiculous. I've been guilty of many moments where my fears have taken over and these dark entities in my head try to convince me that I'm wasting my time. And my higher self steps in and says no. Try to look at these moments where you're being triggered as an opportunity to heal whatever needs to be healed inside. Reminding me that I'm loyal, true, and devoted. So my mirror soul absolutely reflects that. So there's nothing to worry about. It's such a head fuck, you know? I think ultimately when it comes to transgression, when it comes to infidelity, cheating, betrayal, deception, I think you should have enough objective awareness to pause and be like, well, how did this become my reality? I'm speaking in terms of, when the truth comes out and you learn about infidelity or cheating or that kind of stuff. Because I always believe that the truth does come out. Whatever is hidden always comes to the surface. It cannot remain buried. It's like a universal law. So have enough objective awareness to pause. How did this become my reality? Have I stepped out of character? Have I been sneaking around? Have I been cheating, lying, so on and so on? And if you haven't, well then great. Then it's not a you problem. It's your partner. There are things inside of them that they haven't healed, and they're incapable of living in their authenticity and truth and really committing to a relationship because there are things inside of them that they haven't healed. So they either run from it through other connections, self-sabotaging possibly. Either they're conscious of it or subconsciously. People who need a constant ego boost will sleep around from person to person. And then I think about transgression and desire. Especially me as a writer, my forte is this topic, taboo, forbidden. It's so appealing to me. I'm not sure why. I have this tendency to want to just always bend the rules, push the envelope, do things unorthodox, kind of my own literary way of saying fuck you to society and the rules. And it's basically shadow work. I mean, think about it. What is it about transgression that is so appealing to you? Is it the thrill? Is it the rush? Is it like a God complex where you feel as though I am a master creator of this universe and I can do whatever the fuck I want because I can. And there are no consequences to pay. But we all know that that's not true. I mean, every action has a consequence. Every action. What did I want to say? I think the key to a healthy relationship is learning how to keep that passion alive, that excitement, that thrill, that rush, keeping things fresh so that it doesn't become like a mundane, boring routine. Even if you have to start kind of living your life like you're in your own movie. Write your script. Make it exciting. Do things unorthodox. Meet up at a cafe together and pretend you're strangers. I don't know. Aren't we on a world stage anyway? That Shakespeare quote. All the world's a stage, men and women, merely actors. Something like that. I believe that when love is true and real, then there's no room for any fear when it comes to infidelity and cheating, deception. When you both mirror the same core values in a relationship, then there's no fear. When you truly, truly love yourself, you won't be threatened by others. Whether it's something that, like a physical attribute that they possess, or material wealth. You know that you're complete. You're perfect as you are, and you're worthy of being loved and accepted and embraced and adored for everything that you are. I don't view sex as a shallow thing. It's very spiritual, and it's an energetic transaction. I believe the best healers in the world have a tremendous amount of sexual energy. Hint, hint. Kidding. We all have sexual energy. We all do. It's all about how you use it, how you transmute it. I transmute much of mine in my writing, my art, my music, and dance. We are constantly transmuting energy. I believe that those who can transmute all their fears have truly, truly mastered alchemy in this realm. That's just my opinion. I'm still learning how to do this. It's a day-by-day process as I confront my fears and things that I need to address within myself. There are moments where I feel like, I'm done my shadow work. I've looked at everything that I need to look at, and then something in my environment will trigger a negative reaction within me. And fortunately, wow, butchering words. Fortunately now, at this stage of my journey, I do have this ability to pause, reflect, ruminate on triggered reaction, and then kind of analyze it, dissect it without reacting emotionally, freaking out, feeling as though my world is ending. I don't think that that's healthy for anybody. Yeah, that's not healthy for anyone.
there's also a level of surrender required living this life. It's like trusting that no matter what happens, the universe has your best interest at heart. No matter what lessons you learn, it's for your ultimate good, even when you're in the shittiest, most horrible situations. We have to ask ourselves, like, why are we here? What's the real purpose? Are we here to just keep receiving validation from others? To validate our worth, validate our existence, validate who we are, validate that we're on the right path? Or are we here to just learn self-mastery and keep purifying our hearts so that our soul can ascend? And if that's the case, well, everything really does come back to you, regardless of what happens in your outside environment. We can't really exert control over others, but we can master discipline when it comes to ourselves. And if we discipline ourselves correctly, then that will also create an ideal environment where we are happy. At least I'd like to think so. That's pretty much how I combat my fear when it comes to cheating and betrayal and infidelity. I keep reminding myself that you have no intention to step out of your integrity. You have no intention to do X, Y, and Z to your partner. So why dance around these fears in your mind? It's not part of your reality. You haven't done anything to manifest these things into your reality, because the world is your mirror. So don't entertain these thoughts. And even if you were in a situation where your fears manifested, I won't blame myself. I made a decision a while ago to heal myself so that I could really start enjoying life, making better connections and friendships and relationships, and no longer living in fear, reaching my highest potential, and I'm still on that path. I think it's normal to be lured into the demon playground where your fears will kind of harass you for a bit, but it's also important to get yourself out of there and not stay there. Ground yourself and realize that life is meant to be beautiful, and we're not here to suffer all the time. And that no matter what happens, we're all worthy of love. We're all worthy of acceptance. We're even worthy of redemption. When you tap into your divine will and you set a pure intention, there's always a way. It might not be easy, but there's always a way. And I will end on that note. Love you guys. Over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the 6th episode of my podcast. I apologize for the long hiatus. I'll do my best to upload weekly with the remaining pre-recorded episodes. If you dig my vibe and wisdom, please smash the like button and subscribe. Face your fears, fam. Don't run from them. Sending you all love and light.